Hey YouTube, this is Melantart VA.
And this is Sakuya Amano.
And today, after watching The Voice of Reason and Thespio's worst episodes of MLP, I figured we would do the same since we haven't done an MLP video in a while.
Oh yeah, and it's like, this is gonna feel like a bit of awkward homecoming for me because I haven't seen MLP in at least 3 years. well, I have, but it's like I haven't really been much in touch with the community in 3 years.
Yep. Okay, so we're gonna be using most of the same categories they used, except we added one and we got rid of one. So the first category is actually worst opening, and we're probably gonna get a lot of flack for this, but the main reason is because it actually ruined one of my favorite comic arcs, and that would have to go to the beginning of the end. God, to me, what they did to Sombra in this opening was just unforgivable.
Yes, and it's like Melon said, what happened with King Sombra in Fiendship is Magic kind of opened him up to redemption, and it's like, it could have been great.
And the comics actually did redeem him in the Siege of the Crystal Empire. But then this opening came along and threw all of that out the window, and that's why I can't stand it.
Yeah, and it's like, considering the fact that, the writers had said they were going to be adding elements of the comics into the show.
Yeah, so, this is, what happened to that promise? Unfortunately, Season 9 is kind of known for its broken promises, as we're going to get to later.
Yeah, it's kind of like the final season of Game of Thrones in that respect.
Yes, and also, in hindsight, having Grogar was pointless. In hindsight.
Yes.
Anyway, next category. Next category is actually the most boring. Would you like to go first, Sakuya, talking about this one?
Okay, call me weird, but my most boring episode was Baby Cakes.
Really? Why?
Mainly because of the fact that it's in my opinion, the show runs on its best when it's focusing on more than just one main character, and it's I get the idea it's supposed to be a babysitting misadventure, but at the same time, it's I just feel like there could have been more to the episode.
Okay, so for you, it was just underwhelming.
Yeah.
Okay, for me, some people might agree with me, but my choice actually has to be the Equestria games. Only because I don't remember what happened outside of Spike singing horribly. I literally do not remember what happened. And to me, forgetting an episode automatically probably makes it the most boring to me. Okay, next subject.
That's fair.
Thank you. Okay, so the next category is actually the worst moral, and I know you're excited to talk about this one, Sakuya. Do you want to go first again?
Yep. The worst moral for me, the Ticketmaster.
And like we talked about in our review.
We missed one.
We're going to go back.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. So anyway, for you, the Ticketmaster having the worst moral, even though we talked about it in the review, would you care to elaborate?
For me, it was the whole idea of essentially the fact that it made the whole moral pointless because they were trying to figure out who would go to the gala with only a single ticket, only to realize, there were 4 tickets. So what the hell was the point of the episode?
Yeah, that's true. And it also sent just a bad message, which again we did go over in the review.
Yeah, and again, it's just the overall message that it sends. It's really, guys, for such a moral-driven show, this was kind of a drop of the ball.
Fair enough. And for me, my worst moral is actually a matter of principles. Purely because... Okay, so essentially, Discord throws a massive temper tantrum only because he wasn't chosen to be the temporary headmaster of the School of Friendship. And at the end, Starlight apologizes to him and then rewards him. You never, ever reward bratty behavior.
Yeah, seriously, it's like that reinforces terrible behavior.
Yeah, so to me, this has to be the worst moral. Okay, next one we're going to be talking about is actually the episodes everyone likes except for us. And since mine's going to be controversial, why don't you go first again, Sakuya?
My episode that everybody likes except for me would have to be Party of One.
Oh boy.
And the reason being is I just kind of hated the whole idea of Pinkie Pie basically going into a nervous breakdown over like nobody accepting party invitations. And it's like, I get it, Pinkie Pie is a person who wants to see everyone happy, but at the same time I feel like it was very out of character for Pinkie Pie to practically lose her mind just because no one would, or to not only get angry but also lose her mind over the fact that no one was, gonna come to her party. And it's just like, again, the whole episode just seemed like a terrible episode for Pinkie Pie.
And since we're talking about Party of One, we do have to address the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Cupcakes.
Yep. And also, yes, it was technically part of the birth of the Cupcakes creepypasta, which in my opinion was one of the stupidest, most cliche creepypastas ever written.
Fair enough. For me, all of you are probably going to think I'm insane, but I gotta go with Lesson 0. To me, this episode ruined Twilight Sparkle. Twilight Sparkle was never like this before this episode, to my memory. And also this episode was just cringy for me. I could barely finish it. Sakuya, do you have an opinion on this being my episode I hate and everyone loves?
I mean, to be honest, I wasn't a big fan of it either, to be honest.
Okay, then. Okay, and next up, the worst finale. Saki, do you mind if I go first this time?
Yeah, since mine's going to be a little on the controversial side.
Okay, for me, the worst finale is actually the best night ever. Purely because... only because, really, with all the build-up, it was just so underwhelming. I mean, I expected more from this. But after going back and watching it, it's like for some reason so many of the main six are out of character, and it's something I can't stand. Your thoughts, Sakuya?
Agreed.
Okay, and now for yours. Everyone buckle up.
This was going to be very controversial, but it would have to have been the final problem.
The last problem, but
anyway. The last problem. Merely because of the fact that essentially Hasbro pulled a Peter Molyneux and promised that the main six would not age. But guess what? The main six got old.
Except for Twilight Sparkle, who basically became Celestia.
Yeah, and it's like I get it, the Alicorns are immortal, but at the same time, you promised that the main six would not age.
It was actually Lauren Faust who promised us that, but she left the show over the whole Twilacorn debacle, I believe.
Still, I was holding that to heart.
Okay, then. And now...
Sorry about that very intense reaction.
No, that's okay. And now, worst episode. Do you want to go first?
Okay, this one might be seen as kind of petty, but a dog and pony show.
Okay.
Mainly because, I get it, Rarity was using her wiles to get out of that situation of being captured by the Diamond Dogs, but it was that whining session she went through that was just incredibly freaking grating.
Even though we do parody it from time to time.
Yeah, and it's also that whole thing where she just broke down crying to emotionally mess with the Diamond Dogs, and it's she pretended to break down crying. She broke down in crocodile tears.
And also, if you think about it, outside of Equestria Girls, we never see the Diamond Dogs again, and not even with the entire School of Friendship and the series finale, we never see the Diamond Dogs again.
But yeah, and it's like just to be honest, I just didn't like that episode at all.
Okay. And for me, this is going to seem a bit petty, but for me, simple ways. Purely because of one thing. It violates one of my personal standards that you should never change who you are for anyone. And to see Rarity just absolutely demean herself for a fucking stallion who didn't even like her just felt like a slap in the face to me and to her character. What do you think?
Felt like a complete
I'm sorry, what you were glitching?
It felt like a total betrayal of her character.
Yes. And don't get me started on Apple Jewel. I do not want to talk about that. So anyway, guys, that's it for our worst. If you guys want, next time we'll do the what we consider some of the best episodes and possibly rank the Equestria Girls stuff if you guys want us to. Right, Sakuya?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Anyway, I'm Melantart VA.
I'm Sakuya Amano.
And we'll see all of you in the next video. Bye-bye.
See ya.